Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here, and today we're taking a look at the Rosewill SP7260 speaker for your music, your movies, and your gaming need. So if you're looking for a good sub $100 speaker, check out the Rosewill SP7260. It's a great little speaker. Well, not really little. It's big, but it has some features to it and some things that I didn't like about it. We're going to talk about that as we go from there. First of all, you can find them where you go. I got the Amazon right here. Of course, you can go over to Newegg. On both sides, you got 4-star or 4 eggs as Newegg would have. So a pretty decent device, and they did have some negative reviews, and I'll go over that a little bit later. But first of all, let's go over what this speaker is. And it is 2 speakers. I just got one here because it is a little bit larger on the table. So they're 2 daisy chain. What you get is the 2 speakers. You get a power cord. You get the cable to hook it up to your computer or your TV or something like that. And then, of course, this is the 6-foot 4-pin cable. Looks like an S-video cable, if you remember those. But if you need a longer cable, this might be a small little downfall on that. But 6 foot here, it reached from one side to the other for me, so I didn't have any big problems with that. So let's look at some of the specs here. First of all, it's a 4-ohm speaker system. It runs at 60 hertz all the way up to 20 kilohertz. It's got a 4-inch subwoofer that's down here. It's got the 1.5-inch tweeter up here. The size is 11.3 in height by 7.3 in length and 9-inch diameter, going back depth, not diameter. So it's like I said, it's pretty big, but it is also made of wood. It's a wood casing with a plastic wrap around it, and it's got this special bottom here so it doesn't vibrate on the table. So it's basically this plastic stand here with rubber feet, so you can set it down. And like I said, it doesn't. The table doesn't cause too much extra sound to it. A little sound vibration trick here. It says that it's wood, and the image at Amazon and Newegg shows you like a oak or something like that. But I really want to point this out. This is the wood that you get. It is a pressboard type wood, so don't get it wet. First of all, but it's not going to be spectacular. Nice oak or mahogany could really give this sound, but of course with pressboard and of course this being wrapped in this outer covering, this black outer covering, it's going to be okay, and it does give you a better sound than in plastic, and it's going to be a little bit heavier. So just if you know that going into it, you're fine. Now let's talk about what's in the side and in the back here, because we have a few things. And of course, like I said, you get 2 speakers. This is just one of the speakers. I think this is the right side speaker. But anyway, it comes with a volume, a treble, and a bass volume pot area. Headphone jack, an auxiliary in jack. That's over here. These 2 right here. It's also got RCA audio inputs right over here. That speaker output to go to your other speaker, or you can run it in mono if you want. Depends. And then of course the power cable, which is 120 volts, 60 hertz power. And sometimes the power can actually get into the sound, and then you get like buzzes and hums. I didn't hear any hums. I do hear little clicks and bits and pieces. If you have dirty power, it'll definitely go through the speaker. And if you do have that, you might want to look into improving the cables instead of using the cables that come with it. Find better shielded cables, get ferrite cores or anything like that to try and protect the sound a little bit better, so you don't get those little clicks and buzzes and stuff like that. And go from there. So anyway, let's figure out how this works with the different types. It's first of all, we'll talk about the music. Now, when I do music tests, I go over to this one site. It's a great little site. It's called audiocheck.net because they give you a whole bunch of options for testing, from bass to treble to sound differences. But if you don't go over to audiocheck.net, then you can always just use different songs. Like, for instance, Alabama Shakes, great band. They've got a great spectrum of tones which can go through speakers. Dave Matthews, there's a lot of songs that I use from them to get that. Johnny Cash's "Hurt" is a perfect song because he's got that low voice, but then he's got the instruments that are pretty high. They're pretty separate. So you can really listen to the differences between low end and high end. And that's important. But, orchestral pieces or anything like that, you run those through and you play with the dials. You turn up the treble, you turn down the treble, turn up the bass, turn down the bass, and you can really hear the differences. Not too many problems with this. Like with the other speaker, had a little bit of vibration issue. I heard some staticky sounds in there. Something might have come unglued, so I'll have to check into it a little bit more. But this side speaker, it worked perfect, no problems right there. So, but anyway, that's the music aspect of it. Let's move into another aspect, watching movies on it. And basically, this replaces your TV's sound bar. Maybe you were looking for a sound bar. You can check out these speakers in replace for those sound bars. I hooked it up. I actually do have a 2.1 stereo audio system that I have in the living room, where the bass cabinet is actually stuffed underneath the entertainment center. This does direct line of sound. So if you have this level to your ears, you'll be able to hear this a lot better than if you did something like that system. And with that system, I always had some, telephone noise coming through, some little buzzes and stuff like that. This one doesn't do that. So I'm definitely going to replace them with this system right here. So when it came to watching movies in a 2.1 stereo system, it worked perfectly. We had no problems hearing the voices. We had no problems getting the experience from, jets passing by or guns shooting or anything like that. It was a great experience. And so with movies, no problems right there. Let's move into the final part, and that's gaming. I'm not a big gamer, but I do have some gaming systems. I had the Xbox One, the Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii, hooked it up and did some gaming tests. Once again, as long as these speakers are in earshot, in line of ear, so basically if my ear was here or over here, as long as it's in the line of hearing, I guess we could call it, then you're fine. And it's got a display, so you don't have to be directly in front of it, but you could be in a good places in the room. You should be able to hear this without problem. We had no problem with that. I could hear all the bumps and guns and people calling, "Come over here," and stuff like that. So great for gaming, and great for movies, and great for music. Where it doesn't get so great is when you want that really audiophile type sound. But then again, you're not buying $100 speakers. You're buying $500 speakers, $1,000 speakers. I did do some mixing because I know there are some people that they're on a budget and they need to get a set of speakers so they can do audio mixing, maybe podcast mixing and stuff like that. If you're a podcaster and you're doing some post mixing, these speakers are great. If you're really getting into the audio mixing, like maybe bands and stuff like that, mixing your band or somebody else's, you might want to look into something a little bit more expensive with a little bit more oomph to it, as something that could go 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. That would be more optimal for you. But if you're getting into audio engineering and you got $100 to spend on spare speakers, this might be the great set of speakers to get. So in recap, let's take a look at everything. Once again, we've got the Rosewill. Here we go. The Rosewill SP7260 speaker. It's got the punch bass technology. The wooden cabinets, not so much. It's press board. All the volume knobs work. I've had no problems. I've heard no issues. It's got 4 stars on Amazon, 4 eggs on Newegg. One of the big problems that a lot of people had was apparently one of the speakers kept cutting out. But they'd send in their RMA, they'd get a new set of speakers, and I think they were fine from there. They really didn't follow up too much. The only 3 problems, like I said, the wood issue, because the image showed something other than press board. Of course, the 4-pin speaker from one side to the other, and then the LED light. I put a piece of tape over it because it gets pretty bright, and when you're turning down all the lights to watch a movie or something like that, that LED gets in the way. Or you go to bed and you're looking, and all of a sudden your living room's completely blue, because this is a blue LED in here, and yeah, it's not the best. But a piece of tape, it did the job and covered it up just fine. So anyway, that's pretty much it. This is the Rosewill SP7260. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Newegg, about $100. So you can check it out. Many different sellers, and you can go from there. Do you have these speakers? Let me know what you think by tweeting me over at Geekazine or Facebook.com/Geekazine or YouTube.com/Geekazine. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time on another Geekazine review. Until then, you guys geek out.